It is recorded in the Dipavamsa that when Venerable Yasa, son of Karkandaka, one of the early elders ordained by Buddha and now 165 years of age, noticed during his stay at Mahavana, Kutagara Hall of Vaisali. On one uposattha day, the Vajjayan monks placed a copper bowl with water in the midst of the Sangha and asked the devotees to contribute some gold or silver coins or kahapanas for the need of the community. Venerable Yasa openly protested against this and asked the donors not to offer any money, as the use of gold and silver was strictly prohibited in the Vinaya, monastic discipline. It is mentioned in Kulavagga that the monks of the Vajji country were in the habit of practicing the 10 points, Dasavathuni, which were regarded as unorthodox by Venerable Yasa. The 10 points or indulgences described in the Kulavagga are as follows. 1. The practice of carrying salt in a horn container during the alms round to flavor the alms food. 2. The practice of eating after the sun had crossed 2 fingers' breadth from the meridian at midday, untimely eating, Vikalabhojana. 3. The practice of eating twice in same village. This is opposed to Pasitya 36, eating twice in same village. 4. The practice of having separate uposattha, monastic community meetings to recite the monastic rules, while staying in same monastery. 5. The practice of conducting a formal act of Sangha, monastic community, without the presence of all the concerned members and expecting that the absentee monks will automatically agree. This goes against the Vinaya, monastic rule, Pasitya called Dukkata, dealing with conducting the Sangha, community, meeting as a whole. 6. Blindly following the elders, saying that since my teacher or preceptor has done it, so I will also do it. The practice goes against the Vinaya, monastic rule, Pasitya rule, dealing with unquestioned following. 7. The practice of drinking buttermilk at wrong time. This practice is contrary to Vinaya, monastic rule, Pasitya rule. 8. The practice of drinking fermented, alcoholic drink. This practice is opposed to Vinaya, monastic rule, Pasitya, which forbids the drinking of intoxicants. 9. The practice of using expensive and stylish bed coverings. This is contrary to Vinaya, monastic rule, Pasitya. 10. The acceptance of gold and silver, which is forbidden by Rule 18 of the Vinaya, monastic rule, Pasitya. The Venerable Yasa openly declared these practices to be unlawful. The Vajji monks, however, pronounced the penalty of Patisaranyakoma, act of reconciliation, upon him. This necessitated the offenders apologizing to the laity who had been forbidden by Venerable Yasa to carry out the precepts of the Vajji monks. He defended his own view before the laity and by his eloquent advocacy won them over to his side. This increased the fury of the offending monks, who pronounced the punishment of Ukhapanyakoma, act of suspension, upon him, which meant his virtual expulsion from the brotherhood or community. After being expelled from the Sangha, Yasa went to his native place Kosambi. From there he sent messengers to the Bhikkhus of Avanti, Pathaya, West India, and the south, inviting them to assemble and take necessary steps against these irreligious works. He personally went to the elder Sambhuta Sanavasi, who then resided at the Ahaganga hill, on the high Ganges, and requested him to take up this question in earnest. Venerable Sambhuta Sanavasi agreed to do so. About the same time, 60 Arahants from Pathaya, 88 from Avanti and the southern country came in response to Venerable Yasa's invitation and assembled on the Ahaganga hill. But they failed to find any solution. They went to the Theravada of Sreeranga, who was then the chief of the Sangha and was celebrated for his learning and piety. Venerable Mahadeva was not willing to involve in this problem. He started wandering from place to place. After many attempts, the monks got hold of him at Sahajati. On the advice of Sambhuta Sanavasi, he approached the Venerable Mahadeva and placed the issue before him. One by one, these 10 points were brought up and asked for his opinion. Each one of them was declared to be invalid by the Venerable Mahadeva. Meanwhile, the Vajrayana monks were not idle. They also went to Sahajati in order to enlist the support of the Venerable Mahadeva. They offered him rich presents which the Venerable Mahadeva refused with thanks. However, they induced his disciple, Acharya, to take up their cause, but he failed. At the suggestion of Venerable Mahadeva, the monks proceeded to Vaisali in order to settle the dispute at the place of its origin. 700 monks met in a council, but there was much rambling talk and fruitless discussion. In order to avoid further waste of time and irrelevant discussion, the matter was referred to a committee consisting of 4 monks from the east and 4 from the west. Venerable Ajita was appointed the seat regulator. The Venerable Sabakami was elected president. The 10 points were put one by one and they were declared unlawful. The questions were stated again and the same decision was arrived at in the full assembly of the council. A 100 years after the great demise of the Lord Buddha, the Second Great Council was held at Vesali, the capital city of Vajrayana Republic, currently known as Vaisali at Bihar state. In this council, the sacred canon was once again recited for 8 months and its authenticity reaffirmed by 700 noble disciples, under the presidentship of Venerable Sabakami Mahathera. King Kalasoka was the chief lay supporter, like King Ajatasattu in First Buddhist Council. Venerable Buddhaghosa in his Samantapasadika mentions that 700 Arahants recited the Dhamma and the Vinaya at the end, and a new edition of Pitakas, Nikayas, Angas and Dhammat Kandas were made. There are slight divergences in the Chinese and Tibetan versions. The northern version generally puts the date of the council 110 years after the nirvana of the Buddha. The Vajrayana monks were not satisfied. So, they called upon another council known as Mahasangika. They were able to invite 10,000 monks and gathered at Pataliputra. There became a great schism of the Buddhist Sangha 100 years after the Mahaparinibbana of the Buddha into Stavara and Mahasangika. The Mahasangika group now cast doubt about the status of the Arahants. In particular, the monk Mahadeva, who had very strong support, weakened the ideal of Arahant by putting up the 5 points. 1. An Arahant may be subjected to temptation. 2. One may be an Arahant and know it not. 3. An Arahant may have doubts on matter of doctrine. 4. One cannot be an Arahant without a teacher. 5. One may attain perfection by meditating with such exclamation as "How sad, how sad." According to some traditions, the first doctrinal controversy arose in the Buddhist community due to the 5 suggestions of Mahadeva. The traditions of Bhavya, Vasumitra and Vinatadeva have the same opinion that the division in the original Sangha into Stavara and the Mahasangika arose due to 5 points of Mahadeva and not because of 10 points on Vinaya of Vajrayana monks. However, it is generally accepted that the great schism of Buddhist community as Stavara and Mahasangikas happened after the Second Great Buddhist Council.